Dear converts, sisters, lay mission partners, friends, benefactors, and relatives. In the incarnation of the Word of God, we celebrate the selfless love of God who saves and empowers us by accepting our humanity. Saint Gregory of Nazianzus, who glorifies the tremendous significance of the humanity of Jesus, says, "What has not been assumed has not been healed." His insight into the event of incarnation challenges those who reject the very act of God accepting humanity in its totality. In Jesus, God assumes our human reality and acknowledges our vulnerability and fragility. By this divine humility, we are healed. Our relationship with God and one another is restored. On Christmas, this acceptance is manifested in the child of Bethlehem, born of a migrant family at the periphery of the society. This year, we celebrate Christmas amid the COVID-19 pandemic. This invisible virus exposes our vulnerability and fragility as individuals and as a human family. Because of this pandemic, many of us will have a confined Christmas celebration, deprived of the customary delight of coming together as families and friends and as communities. It will be a silent Christmas that would enable us to recapture the radiant scene of the birth of the Lord as narrated in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. The pandemic opens our eyes to see the inequalities among the nations and the most vulnerable people in our families and communities. They are people who suffer mainly because of their frail health, faulty health care, and conditions of poverty. The pandemic and the preventive protocols have not only taken a heavy toll on life, but also resulted in far-reaching economic, social, psychological, and spiritual consequences. The proposals of Pope Francis as the attitudes needed to respond to the situation of the refugees can also be our attitudes towards our communities and families. That is, to welcome, to protect, to promote, and to integrate. As missionaries, religious, and lay people, we try to reach out to the weak and vulnerable in our families, communities, congregations, and society. We integrate and make part of the community all those who feel excluded and abandoned. We care for those who are infected with the virus. We give share of blessing to those most affected by the economic consequences of the lockdowns. We console those who have lost their loved ones to the coronavirus. On that silent and holy night, the angel of the Lord announced to the shepherds, "Don't be afraid. Look, I bring you a great joy, a joy to be shared with the whole people." Under these circumstances of vulnerability and uncertainty, let us assume the angel's role by becoming a message of hope and assurance to everyone that we are together in this struggle. God heals by assuming our humanity, accepting and embracing us. When we do likewise, we can authentically say we are one family and one community, celebrating Christmas and welcoming the graces of the New Year.
Desejo que este Natal seja um tempo de paz e de alegria e que o Deus menino nascido em Belém a todos abençoe. Feliz Natal e um próspero Ano Novo.
प्यारे दोस्तों, आप सबों को क्रिस जयंती का मुबारक हो। संकट के इस समय में शांति का राजा बालक यीशु आप सबों को अधिक मात्रा में अपने आशीष प्रदान करें। क्रिस जयंती का मुबारक, नया साल का मुबारक, जय क्रिस्त।
Nais ko pong ipaabot sa inyong lahat ang isang maalab na pagbati ng maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon. Naway maranasan nating lahat ang tuwa at kapayapaang dulot ng sanggol na si Jesus. Hari nawa na ang darating na bagong taon ay maging masaya, mapayapa, at puspos ng mga biyaya ng Diyos. Muli, maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon sa inyong lahat.
Euch allen wünschen wir frohe Weihnachten und Gottes Segen im neuen Jahr 2021.
Chers confrères et amis, que la célébration de la naissance du Christ nous apporte joie, bonheur, amour et paix pour l'année à venir. Joyeux Noël et bonne année 2021. Merci.
Les deseamos una santa y feliz Navidad y que la paz y el amor del Señor les bendiga y les guarde durante todo el nuevo año.
Błogosławionych świąt Bożego Narodzenia. Niech nadzieja, miłość i pokój, którą przynosi nam Boży Syn, pozostaną z Wami przez te święta i przez cały nadchodzący czas. Szczęść Boże wszystkim.
Untukmu semua kami ucapkan selamat merayakan Hari Raya Natal dan semoga berkat Tuhan senantiasa menyertai kita dalam tahun baru 2021.
Dear friends, it has been an adventurous Advent of another kind. Permit me to borrow the words of the prophet Isaiah to wish you and pray for you. Joy and gladness will overtake you, sorrow and sighing will flee. Chapter 35, verse 10. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a peaceful New Year.